23, just put down 23. Then we pick it up from where we left. We had started what? Stock taking. Stock taking, we have started that. Objective of stock taking, method of stock taking, periodical stock taking, continuous. Sorry? Coding. That is slightly at the back. After stores. Stores division. After stores. Stores division. Purposes of coding. Principles of coding. So principles of coding we listed exclusive, certainty, elasticity, brevity, memorization and uniformity. Then today we pick it up from storage conditions. Storage conditions. There are basic conditions that should be followed to ensure that goods are stored properly. Storage conditions. These are basic conditions that should be followed to ensure that goods are stored properly. They include number one. The height of the store ceiling must be at least 3.5 to 4 meters. The height of the store must be at least. The height of the store must be at least 3.5 to 4 meters. The height must be 3.5 to 4 meters. That is the height. The height of the store must be between 3.5 to 4 meters. Number two, the second one, racks must be stainless. Racks must be stainless. Racks must be stainless. For fresh fruit, for fresh food items, and non-porous metal-like. Fresh food items and non-porous metal-like steel. Metal-like steel. Point number three. The racks must have legs. The racks must have legs. Miguu. The racks must have legs and have a clearance of about 6 to 8. Between 6 to 8. That is the distance from one rack to another. It has to be like 6 to 8. Zisikwee zimekaribiana sana. Racks must have legs and have a clearance of about 6 to 8 from the ground. 6 to 8 from the ground. To protect the goods, from floor moisture and white ant. To protect the goods from floor moisture and ants. Floor moisture and ants. Point number 4. The space between the shelves. The space between the shelves must be between 50 centimeters and 90 centimeters. The space between the shelves must be between 50 centimeters and 90 centimeters. Depending upon the size of the package. 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 The racks must be placed at the center of the storeroom. Katikati, the center of the storeroom. Preferably, the racks must be placed at the center of the room, of the storeroom, preferably. They should not be put beside or at the corners, but it's fair enough if they are put at the middle. The racks must be placed at the center of the store. The store must be free from insects and vermin. The store must be free from insects, and vermin. And lastly, the following packing norms in storage, must be followed. 1. Meat. The following packing norms in storage must be followed. Number 1. Packed meat carcasses must be wrapped in a cloth. Meat carcasses must be wrapped in a cloth. Siweke nyama tu bila kui. Meat carcasses must be wrapped in a cloth. Not necessarily nguo ile ya kuvaa, but if you can get a polythene bag, put the meat in just before you put it in the freezer. Don't put the meat naked in the freezer. First of all, wrap the meat, then place it where? In the freezer. Usiweke nyama penye mikato kutoka kwa ng'ombe. Chukua nyama, wrap with a polythene bag or a cloth. Not really a cloth, but I prefer to use a polythene bag and then we place it in the freezer. Then number 2, cardboard trays or carton for eggs. Put eggs in trays or cardboard trays or cartons for eggs. In other words, put eggs in cartons or cardboard. Don't put the eggs kwa shelves directly. Just put them where? Put eggs in cardboard or cartons. 3. Spices and condiments should be in their packs. Spices and condiments. Can somebody tell me the difference between a spice and a condiment? Tell me a difference between a spice and a condiment. Anybody with an idea? We used them yesterday, correct? We used the spices and at the same time I used condiments. I'm sure Malaka has taught you this. Serious? The spices and condiments. Sini kweli? Ashawafunza hivyo, sini kweli? Anaambia tofauti gani kati ya spice na condiment? Spices are dried and grounded, but condiments can be fresh. Serious? But spices are dried and done with grounded. So they are supposed to be put where? In packs. Usiziache kama zimefunguliwa, hiyo aroma yake inaenda. When you use them, you find ziko already there. They cannot do the job they're supposed to do. Food color and essence must be stored in bottles or tins. You saw the vanilla essence we had yesterday when we were preparing the cake. It's in where? It's in a bottle. Food essence and color should be stored in bottles. Food essence and food color. Essence and food color. Food essence and food color should be kept in bottles or tins. They should be put in bottles or tins so that zisiharibike. Now we go straight to storage of materials. Storage of materials. Different types of food commodities require separate storage conditions. Different types of food commodities requires separate storage conditions in order to maintain or improve their conditions and quality. Different food commodities require separate storage conditions in order to maintain or improve conditions and quality. In other words, each and every food commodity should not be put in the same as, maybe say for example, meat put together with eggs and something like that. These food commodities are grouped as follows. Number one, meat and poultry, fish and shellfish, fruits and vegetables, dairy products, frozen food, tinned food, and dry food. Even as we are doing food costing, of which this time I saw maybe half of the students are trying to do it right, but there are some who are still copying. I don't know whom we are going to copy in your final exam. Kuna wale mpaka sasa hivi bado hawajaelewa kutengeneza this costing sheet. Na hawajakuja waelezewe ujue kuitengeneza wewe mwenyewe. Because it's important. No is going to do for you wakati unafanya next exam. Si hakuna? So the best thing is better you know. I will be having a class with the January people because they are the next group tutaweka kitchen kidogo tuangalie. So if you still have a problem in doing the costing, kindly make frozen food, tinned food, and dry food. Now, this one I explained you don't write. Meat and poultry, all sides and quarters of whole carcass should be hung in a cold room at a temperature of 0 to 1. Nyama inafaa ikwe hang, so that na uchi tukasema tuweke kama the same, so that hiyo damu ikwe na isianguke kwa floor. Then this with a space between them to allow free circulation of air with drip trays underneath in order to collect any blood if it's coming from the meat. This period varies between 2 and 10 days according to the type of the meat, permitting chemical change to take place to produce more tender meat. Nyama ambayo imechinjwa leo na nyama ambayo imekaa mpaka kesho, prefer ya kesho kwa sababu drain blood yote imeisha. Poultry game if it drawn should be hung at a temperature of 0, exception of the rabbits and hare, which should be hung maybe 3 degrees. Fish should be put where? Wet fish should be stored in a separate and special type of refrigerator with perforated non-rust trays, allowing the fish to drain and permitting easy cleaning of the refrigerator. So again, tuziweka zikiwa na the scales, we remove the scales, then we remove the intestine just before we put them in the freezer. Fruits and vegetables, all types of fruits and vegetables, they need to be carefully stored room where there is no sunlight. If we are to put vegetables and fruits, then let's get a room that does not allow sunlight to come in. So the room should be dry, cool, and well ventilated, so that most of the vegetables they will turn yellow, and then we will not be having anything to sell. The room should be dry and cool, ventilated with bins for root vegetables and wrap for other vegetables. Remember you had learned about root vegetable, leaf vegetable, fruit vegetable. I know you know all these, correct? Sindio? So, si tukiniambia spinach ni vegetable. Nani alisema? Is spinach a vegetable? It's not. So, the only type of vegetable we have root vegetable, we have leaf vegetable. This is where spinach belongs. Then we have fruit vegetable, where we have like aubergine, zucchini, tomatoes, among others. Sindio? Then fruit vegetable deteriorate quickly and the space should therefore be available. I said when we are discussing purchasing that most of vegetables are supposed to be delivered in the morning. Cereal. And then we talked about dry goods to be delivered in the afternoon. The reason why they're supposed to be delivered in the morning, some could be used because when we receive the vegetables, could be some we can use them in the kitchen and store a few, and we're not supposed to buy lots of them depending on the customers, the business, what we call volume forecasting. Bananas and pineapples should be stored in a cool room. But if you leave bananas for long, the outer skin will turn black. Soft fruits and melon should be refrigerated. The watermelon and the others should not be put in the cold room. Instead, they are supposed to be put in the fridge, but not in the freezer, because also they will turn sour. Dairy products, most dairy products with the exception of cheese should be stored in a refrigerator. Dairy products, we have things like milk, cheese, even the eggs are part of dairy products. So therefore, we cannot put eggs in the fridge, can we? Tunaweka mayai kwa fridge kweli? Hapana, sitayawacha tu. But we cannot even again put the mayais kwa cold room as well. Yataharibika. Milk should be stored in containers in which they are delivered and kept covered because they will observe strong smell. I say this that food, whether ni ugali, unga ya ugali, unga ya chakula, usiweke karibu na nini? Na sabuni ama hii marashi ambayo unachipaka. Kwa sababu kama ile unga inabaki pale inavuta hiyo harufu ya yale mafuta, at the end it will be poisonous. Hata ukienda kwa kibanda ama kwa duka, unaona mwenye duka anakuambia sabuni kwa gazeti kama umenunua vitu zingine. Kwa nini? Ile harufu ya sabuni ikikutana na unga ambao iko kwa pakiti, so inavuta ile harufu. Kitabu ufike nyumbani sasa unga inatest sabuni, haitesti unga tena. So therefore we are advised not to. Cheese should be stored in a cold place which is dry and well ventilated because it has a very strong smell and should be kept away from other items, and if to be stored for a period of time, they should be rotated occasionally. So we should not leave cheese again in the freezer completely. We need to, sometimes we change them after a month or so. Frozen food, there is a variety of frozen food, either cooked or uncooked. It can be cooked or it can be uncooked. For example, if you have a fridge at home, you can prepare, say like lentils, then you can put in the fridge so that you can be using them for that week. Cooked or uncooked, and they should be stored in a temperature of at least -10. The lower the temperature of the freezer means food can be kept for a longer time. But don't leave it there for close to a month. It will not be food anymore. Instead, it will be poisonous because it will develop what we call Salmonella typhi. So therefore, it will be poisonous to our health. Tinned food should be stored in dry, well ventilated so to prevent them from rusting. They should be unpacked from their cases and inspected for if a tin is broken or not, and then caused by gases from either bacteria or the tin. Like I said when we were discussing receiving, I said we do not receive any if it is broken eggs, if it is broken eggs, broken tomatoes, not even the tins. We should inspect each item that we are receiving to the store, because we do not buy, or we didn't buy an item that has a defect. And if it has, we are meant to do what? We write what we call a credit note to claim that whatever that you brought us is not good one, so therefore we need replacement. Dry goods, for example, sugar, flour, pulse, cereals, preserved food such as jam, pickled, canned and bottled food, cakes, coffee, bread, etc. Their store should be cool, dry and well ventilated, with all commodities being kept in bins and lids. Some dry goods require an airtight lids. But before we look at this, bread, for example, among other things, Bread is given a lifespan of 72 hours only. From the time of preparation, bread can be fresh for only 24 and 72 hours. So sometimes you find that bread ya 21 wameipea tarehe 27. Na ukinunua tarehe 25 unasema bado iko nini? Bado iko fresh. That is very wrong. Bread is only fresh after 3 days period. So therefore the 4th day, the preservative that is put in the bread, it's only active for 3 days, 72 hours. But if you look at the bread they have given is how many days? Around 5 to 6 days, at most a week. So when you are going to buy bread, make sure you buy bread that is less than 72 hours. That's only fresh one. Lakini ile mkate imepita siku ya 4, already the preservative ile bread ile iliwekewa ishaisha. Huo mkate tayari imeshaharibika. The only thing that we are seeing there, tarehe yake haijaharibika. Hiyo ndio mnasema, si ndio? No, let us not go that direction. Tarehe yake haijafika, lakini mkate inakuwa fresh baada ya siku 3 peke yake. Sawa sawa. The same way with the cake. You go to this supermarket in town, they prepare the cake there Monday and it's being bought on Friday or Saturday. And again they claim that the cake is fresh. Nothing like that. The preservative that they have used only works for 72 hours, that is all. More than that, that particular food already is rotten. You put a bag of unga, ugali, kwa store ambaye iko na chemicals, baada ya masaa ikizidi sana 5-6 hours, unga itakuwa ina test hiyo sabuni. Possibility of confusion and mistake accidentally being made in the use. The store should be dry, well ventilated with slated racks of hanging materials. Now, liquor stores and wine or beer cellar, all drinks should be stored in a room which has a constant temperature, which is maintained by automatically controlled air conditioning. Good enough with the liquor, the wines and spirit, they don't get, as they expire, they can stay for 5 hours. I mean for 5 to 6 years. For example, if a wine, like now, the year 2023, we are supposed to drink wine in which year? 2018. That is the best wine to drink. Because 5 years from now, that's the best wine. But if I sell a wine year 2021, still your wine bado it's not even ready. So the spirits the same, the liquors the same, they should be stored upright. When you want to arrange your store, put the wine standing upright like this. And if you have a slanting area also, you can do that. But usinamishe. Now white wine, put them in the fridge. Red wine, you can put them in dry areas. White wine grapes naitengeneza na red white grapes naitengeneza ni tofauti. So therefore they recommend what the grapes they use to make white wine is different from the one they use to make red wine. So they recommend that red wine should be left in a dry store, but white wine should be put in the fridge. So many times it's sold ikiwa chilled. The demonstration that we will do when the January people are going to the practical, September we will be doing a demonstration here, how to serve wine, how to serve beer, and how to serve water. Those are the 3 demos. For the diploma we will do how to serve wine, for craft we will serve water, and then for artisan wine, water, and beer, the 3 of them. So you'll see how we will serve this red wine, white wine, beer, and water. That is what we are going to do. Very well. Draft and keg beer should be stored in separate area of the liquor store, which is accessible from the dispensing area because of the need to change barrel of the keg during service, and is usually separate from the liquor store. Kama duka yako inauza keg, pia keg inauzwa kando, isichanganye hizo bia zingine. Kuna wengine pia anaweza chukua keg akakuwekea kwa chupa akakufunikia and then akakuzia if you are drunk. Now we write factors that affect food quality in stores. Factors that affect food quality in the stores. Number 1, excessive handling. excessive handling. This can damage packages and make it impossible for food like biscuit, noodles, and other cereal products to become soggy. Excessive handling, explain it this way. This can damage packages. Making it possible for food like biscuits, noodles to become soggy or mold. The more you handle, the more you change, the more you put them, you waste this, they become soggy and mold. Especially, I'll give an example of noodles and biscuits. They damage food like fruits and vegetables also. Fruits and vegetables are also damaged if they are kept excessively handled. They can cause enzymatic and oxidative discoloration, affecting their quality. Number 2, fluctuating temperature and humidity. Fluctuating temperature and humidity. How does this affect? Uncontrolled temperature and humidity can lead to evaporation and absorption of moisture. Uncontrolled temperature and humidity can lead to evaporation or absorption of moisture, leading to drying and sogginess of the food. Factor number 3, sunlight. In stores at certain time of the day, sunlight falling either upon milk or milk products. In stores at certain time of day, sunlight falling either upon milk and milk products or upon other food containing vitamin B2, not B12. Milk products or upon other food containing vitamin B2 can affect their content. Full stop. So light and heat can also affect the quality of. Oil. Remember we discussed about fats and oil. We say fats solid in the room temperature and the oil liquid in the room temperature. So if the two fats and oil are subjected to light, then the fats will turn to liquid, and maybe we did not want the fats to be in the liquid. For example, if I want to use, let's say like margarine, I cannot use it when it's in the liquid form. I prefer to use it when in the solid, because the incorporation, the binding of ribbon or margarine with the unga, we need it in pure solid, not in the liquid, because it helps us to bind the flour, especially when we are preparing any pastry. So strictly we need margarine in a solid state. Why? It will help us when we are binding the flour. Sindio? Wakati mnatengeneza keki, kwanza mnaanza na sukari, mnapiga sukari na maliza. Alafu Unaanza kufanya nini? Si sukari na maji ndio mnaanza nayo. Si ni kweli? Then mkitoka hapo mnaanza weka nini? Yai moja, si mayai yote, si yai moja. Alafu kidogo unaweka unga kidogo. Ile unga inasaidia kubind, inafunika sasa, inafunika. Unaweka kidogo na koroga. So the reason why we strictly recommend that we use solid, ndio ukichapa hivi ina bind. Sawa. Very well. Tuendelee. Also, sunlight I spoke. The other one is careless stuff. Careless handling of food item by staff can lead to contamination of poorly stored food. That is why I insist, kata hiyo makucha. Usishike makucha marefu na chakula. You are making the food poisonous. Careless handling of food item by the staff can lead to contamination or poorly stored food. Contamination of not all but of poorly stored food. With all these factors in mind, effort should be aimed at increasing what? The shelf life of food items through care and receiving and storage. Now we move on to the next thing, stock taking. Stock taking ni nini? This is physically checking and making a list. Stock taking, definition, this is physically checking and taking a list of all items in the store. Stock taking, this is physically checking and taking a list of all items in the store. Or stock taking means to check physically the stock items. In order to ensure that quantities shown on the stock record and actual quantities are the same. Stock taking means to check physically the stock items in order to ensure that quantities shown on stock record and actual quantities are the same. I've said stock taking, the physical count of the items in the store physically. Stock taking, you go there to the store, you count what you are seeing. Like now I'm here in class physically. So I can tell who are present. Not relying on what is signed on the paper. No, but physically seeing who are present. So the same thing, stock taking means I be there physically in the store, I count what we have physically. I count what we have. Then I can compare it with what is written in the records. Now, objective of stock taking. Having understood what is stock taking, objectives of stock taking, or what are we aiming at? Aims or objectives of stock taking. Number one, to determine the value of goods held in the stock. To determine the value of goods held in the stock. The question here is that whatever that is in the stock, it is money. Whatever that is in the stock is what? It is money. So therefore, whatever that is in the stock is money. Therefore, when we count, we will know how much is held in the stock. How much is held in the stock. Therefore, we do the counting, and we are able to tell now, this is what we have in our stock. The aim of stock taking, number one, is to do what? Yes, and I've said stock is what? Money. So therefore we can tell how much we have invested in the stock because we know how much we bought these items. The other thing, number two, to compare the value of goods held in the store at a particular time with the book value of the stock. Number two, to compare the value of goods held in store at a particular time with the book value of the stock. In other words, whatever we've been given as this is what is in the store, then whatever we have also seen physically, we do the comparison. I've said to compare the value of goods held in store at a particular time with the book value of the stock. Number three, aim number three, or objective number three, identify or list slow-moving item or product or good. Identify slow-moving items or products or goods. Now, at home, which is the slow-moving item? Chumvi. So therefore, when you are doing stock, chumvi unaweka mingi, unanunua kidogo, sio? So tukifanya stock taking, tunajua chumvi nilinunua kilo moja itanimalizia mwaka, si kweli? How long can 1 kg of salt last you? Ukiwa peke yako? Is it not 1 year? Maybe 6 months? If you are alone. Alright. So stock pia itatusaidia tuelewe ni bidhaa gani inafanya nini, inatumika pole pole, tusinunue kwa wingi. Sindio? Point number 4. To compare the usage of food with the food sales so as to calculate the food cost and the gross profit. To compare the usage of food with the food sales. The usage of food with the food sales so as to calculate the food cost percentage and the gross profit. Food cost percentage and gross profit. Food cost percentage and what? Gross profit. Food cost is food cost or food cost percentage times 100. Gross profit, it's material cost minus what? To get gross profit. Sales minus material cost. Near done. Then gross margin profit is sales minus material cost minus overhead cost. Labor cost, not overhead. Labor cost. And then net profit is equal to sales minus total cost. So for us to calculate food cost, we will rely on what is in the store. We rely on what is in the store before we do the control of the food. Because these items that are in the store, kuna ile bei tulinunua nayo. Food cost or food cost percentage times 100. Then you can come up with that percentage and then we say this is what you say. Point number 5. To determine the rate of stock turnover. To determine the rate of stock turnover for different groups of food. The rate of stock turnover for different types of food. To determine the rate of stock turnover for different groups of food. Now, when we talk of stock turnover, rate of stock turnover, RST, this rate of stock turnover means how many times do we replenish our stock? The rate of stock turnover means how many times we replenish our stock. In other words, tunaenda soko mara ngapi kwa wiki, mara ngapi kwa mwezi. That is what we call rate of stock turnover. So again, stock taking, it will help us to understand how many times we replenish our stock. The rate of stock turnover. Number 6. To deter beverage and check security and control measures. To deter beverage. And check security and control system. Niliwaambia hii inamaanisha nini? Ni ile wizi kidogo kidogo, si ndio? Ile ya kuiba mboga za mama, ile ya kuchukua tembo kwa kila mama kidogo kidogo. Ile ukiwa kitchen ushachukua kasama kadogo kama jana, ukachukua chips tuwili kama jana. So naona. Sasa baadaye hiyo kai account yaje. Tumesha kachimbo tumezieka. Nikiangalia kando ushachukua moja. Sasa kumbuke tumesha control. So tutaiweka hizo yenye umeiba moja moja. Wewe. Saidia. Is that not true? To detect beverage and check security control. Stock taking is done every trading period and staff know directly. I'll tell you it right. Stock taking is normally done by the people who are not directly associated with or rather related to the staff. Normally we cannot tell the storekeeper that today we are going to do the stock at Akipanga. So kitu si ufanya, tutamstukia tu, tunamwambia tusaidie ufunguo wa stock ili tuweze kuangalia ili kwa stock. In that way we are able to get if there are discrepancies. It's normally done by storekeeping, not by people who are not directly concerned with the storekeeping. And stock taking lists all the printed in the standard format with the layout. After completing the stock, all discrepancies are investigated and stock records are adjusted. Now, the summary report is prepared to the management and actions to be taken if there are discrepancies. Details in stock taking. Details in stock taking. Details in stock taking. Let me see if I have details in stock taking. Discrepancies. Kama kuna changes, discrepancies. Then the last one, remarks. Huyo mwenye alifanya stock, which remarks aliandika. This question was asked November last year. They asked direct questions like that. Let's move on. Method of stock taking. Methods of stock taking. There are 3 methods of stock taking. There are 3 methods of stock taking. 1. Periodical stock taking. Periodical stock taking. 2. Perpetual stock taking. Perpetual stock taking. And number 3, continuous stock taking. There are 3 methods of stock taking. 1. Periodical stock taking. 2. Perpetual stock taking. And number 3, continuous stock taking. Alafu watu wa 2021 akauliza hilo swali namna hii. They don't have any question they're asking. Let me read for you this question. Distinguish between invoice and delivery note. Hiyo nilishafunza kitambo. Nilishaifunza na nikaisungumzia. This other one is here. Explain for advantage of standard recipes. We are done that. Distinguish between centralized and decentralized stores. Sio tulisoma last week? Haya. Highlight for ways in which losses are experienced in the kitchen. Tulianza tukizungumzia kuiba chips moja moja, kukuja na bag kwa jikoni kuiba chakula. This is the question. So you don't expect questions coming from heaven. These questions are, I think, give the meaning of the word stock turnover. Nimesema tu sahi. Stock turnover. See, I've just said it now. And then there is a question in as smooth as I usually saw my book. Distinguish between perpetual stock taking and continuous stock taking. Now, it is in the formats. Distinguish between perpetual stock taking and continuous stock taking formats. See, marks here free. Methods of stock taking. Number one, tumesema perpetual, periodic, and continuous. I start with the first one, perpetual stock taking. Perpetual stock taking means the use of a record card. Ukishaandika hilo jina record card nishakupea marks. The use of a record card for each item of stock that shows the balance in hand after each transaction. Perpetual stock taking means the use of a record card for each item of stock that shows the balance in hand after each transaction. Full stop. Second point under that. It involves recording of all receipts, issues, and running balances in each card. It involves recording of all receipts, issues, and running balances on each card. So therefore the key word here under perpetual stock taking is what? Is what? Record card. And in this record card, it has what? It has receipt, issues, and lastly what? Balances. Tuko sawa? In this record card, what does it show? It shows what you've received, what you've issued out, and the balance that you've remained with. For example, if we have bought 4 kg of meat, and there's nothing like meat, 4 kg of sirloin beef, because you need to specify, maybe T-bone steak, we issued out 2, the balance is 2. So, in perpetual stock taking, it means the use of a record card for each item of stock. And I've given you a good example. Sirloin steak, 4 kg. We issued 2, we remain with 2. That is how perpetual stock taking works. This method is mostly used together with continuous stock. This method is mostly used together with continuous stock taking. Full stop. This method ensures a continual, detailed, and reliable check of stock. This method ensures continual, detailed, and reliable check of stock item. This method ensures a continual, detailed, and reliable check of the stock items. Full stop. It helps to investigate. It helps to investigate the discrepancies in time and take appropriate measure against corrupt and careless staff. It helps to investigate the discrepancies in time and take appropriate measures against corrupt and careless staff. So this is the best method that we can use in our stock taking, because we keep taking check on the stock and we are able to realize if there are any discrepancies that are raised, and then we take actions immediately. Number 2, periodical stock taking. Periodical stock taking. Under this method, all stocks are counted at one time. All stocks are counted at one time at a regular interval. At a regular interval, such as 6 months or 1 year. So if you look at perpetual stock taking, and then you look at periodical stock taking, you may realize or agree with me that in periodical stock taking, there could be more discrepancies because we wait until 6 months we do a stock. So in a year, we can do stock how many times? Twice. And what if we made a mistake when we were doing receiving? Because like I said earlier on, we start from purchasing tunakuja kwa receiving, then from receiving storage, then from storage issue, then from issue kitchen, then from the kitchen we go to service and sales. So that goes like that. So therefore, if we made a mistake in receiving and we had to wait for 6 months to do a stock, I think there will be lots of discrepancies. So the best method that I can propose is perpetual stock taking. Because once we're done with purchasing, we've received. After receiving, they're taking the store storage. Then from the store we do the issues. Then after issue, this particular food commodities go to the kitchen for preparation and then service and sales. So therefore, if we realize that the store maybe we finished the salary stack, for example. Now we start from the purchasing. Did we purchase them? Yes. Were they received? Yes, they were received. What about in the store? They are in the store. Which date up to which date? Were they issued? Yes, they were issued. Then go to the kitchen. Do we have captain order in the kitchen showing this meat? Yes, we have. But were they sold? If they were sold, are there receipts indicating that this particular type of meat was sold and how much it was sold? So we can be able to do control so easy like that. Chubelwana. Inaanza kutoka kwa purchasing. Ikakuja ikakuwa received in the store. Ikakuwa stored. And then after storage, ikakuja issue. Because there's nothing which can come from the store minus being issued. We like a requisition form of whatever item that we need from the store. Then you can the kitchen. For this food to come out from the kitchen, the service people have to write captain order the kitchen to order for this particular food. So therefore it comes back to be sold. So if this meat is not indicated anywhere, if it's from purchasing, did we receive? So the person who's doing the receiving clerk, tutamruhusu yeye receive. Je, store ulifanya issue. If he did issue, say a concept. Turudi kwa kitchen, mliletewa captain order kuagizia chakula iuzwe. Yes, you got. So therefore watu wa service ndio wako na shida. Tupe pesa mahali mliuza chakula hiyo. Then you pay. You see how the process goes? Umeona venye process inaenda? Very easy. So you can trace hii chakula kilipotelea wapi. Tangu kinunuliwe kiende hiyo process yote mpaka hapo. So you can easily trace the food so easily. Let's move on to periodical stock taking. I've said this method, all stocks are counted at one time at a regular interval, such as 6 months or 1 year. And I've said this is not the best way, because we will realize or we will incur so many discrepancies. In annual stock taking, another sentence under that, In annual stock taking, the physical quantities of stock on hand are ascertained at the end of the year. In annual stock taking, the physical quantities of stock on hand are ascertained at the end of each year. Then lastly, because I need to go for a meeting briefly, stock taking may take a few hours or several days.